Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to talk about an idea that honestly shapes just about everything. It's called compounding. And we're not just talking about your bank account here, we're talking about your knowledge, your character, how you build a truly exceptional life. And it all starts with one surprisingly simple first step.
So let's get right into it. The 1% better principle. The whole idea here is that these tiny, consistent efforts you make, they don't just add up. Nope, they multiply. Think about a little snowball at the very top of a hill. At first, it's nothing, right? But as it starts rolling, it picks up more snow, more momentum, and it just grows exponentially until it becomes this totally unstoppable force. And that, right there, is exactly what we're aiming for. Okay, let's make this real. What if you committed to reading just 25 pages a day? I know, it sounds almost trivial, doesn't it? Like something you could squeeze in on your lunch break or right before you go to sleep. It feels way too small to make any real difference. But this is exactly where that power of consistent compounding kicks in.
All right, let's just do the math here for a second. You read 25 pages a day for, say, 340 days a year. Hey, we'll even give you a few days off, right? That adds up to 8,500 pages. 8,500! That's dozens and dozens of books. You've just gone from someone who wants to read more to someone who is, by any definition, a serious reader. Just like that.
But you know what? It doesn't even stop there. Because once that habit is locked in, momentum just takes over. You'll find you naturally start reading 30 pages, maybe 40. Before you know it, hitting 10,000 pages a year isn't a chore anymore. It's almost effortless. You've officially started your very own intellectual snowball.
Now, this isn't just about the sheer number of pages you read. Not at all. It's about what you're actually building inside your head, a huge, incredible library of ideas. And for that library to be useful, really useful, it can't just be some random pile of books stacked in a corner. It needs a structure.
You know, the most effective way to organize all this knowledge is to think of it like a tree. Elon Musk put it perfectly. You've got to understand the fundamental principles of a subject first. That's the trunk and the big branches. Only then can you start adding the little details, the leaves. Because without that solid trunk to hang them on, new facts and ideas just fall right off. They have nowhere to stick.
So how do you actually build this library the right way? First off, focus on timeless wisdom, not just the latest trends. Second, you got to actively look for connections between different fields, physics, biology, psychology. This creates what the legendary investor Charlie Munger calls a latticework of mental models, and that's really the foundation of true wisdom. And here's a super important rule. If a book isn't grabbing you, just quit. Seriously, your time is your most valuable asset, so don't waste it on books that aren't helping you build that tree.
Okay, but how do you find that timeless wisdom in a world that's just drowning in information? Well, there's a powerful filter you can use called the Lindy Effect. It's a pretty simple idea, actually. The longer something non-perishable, like an idea, has been around, the longer you can expect it to be around in the future. So a book that's been relevant for 500 years? Yeah, that's proven its value in a way a brand new bestseller just can't.
And this is exactly why it's so critical to be mindful of your information diet. Think about it. Social media, the 24-hour news cycle, it's all designed to be fleeting. Its value pretty much evaporates in less than a day. But the ideas in classic books, they've survived for centuries. So choosing these Lindy-proof ideas is hands down the most efficient way to build knowledge that actually lasts.
But building this incredible mental library, that's not even the end goal. Knowledge isn't just for showing off at parties, right? Its highest purpose is to actually shape your character and guide your actions. It's about building an inner core that is absolutely unshakable.
And the foundation of that inner core? It's intellectual humility. Charlie Munger said it best. Acknowledging what you don't know is the dawning of wisdom. True wisdom really begins the moment you can honestly, without any ego, say, I don't know. It's about clearly defining the edges of your circle of competence, what you know, and, just as important, what you don't know. Okay, here's one of the most powerful mental tools you can use for making better decisions. It's called inversion. So instead of always asking, how can I succeed, you flip the whole problem on its head. You ask, what would absolutely guarantee failure? And then, you just don't do those things. It's often so much easier to avoid being stupid than it is to try and be brilliant all the time.
And all of these mental tools, humility, inversion, this whole library of knowledge, they all really serve one fundamental choice. Which scorecard are you playing for? There's the outer scorecard, which is all based on what will other people think of me. Then there's the inner scorecard, and that's based on just one thing. Am I living up to my own principles and my own standards of integrity?
Okay, so when you start building your life on this foundation, compounded knowledge and that inner scorecard, you become capable of achieving the highest form of wealth. And I'll tell you, it's probably not what you're thinking.
This quote from Warren Buffett just cuts right to the heart of it. The rich invest in time, the poor invest in money. So many people spend their entire lives just chasing money, but the truly wealthy, they understand that the most valuable, completely non-renewable resource isn't dollars, it's time. And that right there, that's the definition of true wealth. It is not a number in your bank account, it is personal liberty. It is a completely free calendar. It's the freedom to wake up in the morning and say, I can do whatever I want today. The ultimate goal of compounding all these good habits is to gain control over your own life, to stop being dependent on a boss or a schedule or a paycheck.
Look, the path isn't some big secret, but it absolutely demands discipline. You develop valuable skills, you spend less than you earn, and you invest the difference wisely. And the goal here isn't just to get rich, it's to reach a point where work becomes a choice, not a necessity. Because only then do you get the freedom to see the world and your place in it with total clarity.
So how does all of this come together? Well, it circles right back to where we started, with that one single small choice, that tiny little snowflake that starts the whole avalanche.
The person you are, right now, today, is nothing more than the sum total of all the tiny choices you've made up to this point, all compounded over years. Every single book you read, every dollar you save, every time you choose that inner scorecard over the outer one, you are adding another layer to your snowball.
And this brings us to what is maybe the single most important rule of all. Charlie Munger said it, the first rule of compounding: never interrupt it unnecessarily. Once you get that snowball rolling, the biggest mistake you could possibly make is to stop it. The real power isn't in the start, it's in the consistency. The truly incredible results, they only show up after years, maybe even decades of uninterrupted compounding.
So what's the ultimate takeaway from all this? A great life isn't built on some grand, heroic gesture. Not at all. It's built day by day, choice by choice, by starting a small snowball and just having the patience and the discipline to let it roll. So the only question that really matters now is this: what small habit, what little snowball will you start compounding today?